The value of an uncirculated mint state 65 1950 Jefferson nickel minted in Denver is 8/5 the value of a 1945 nickel minted in Philadelphia in similar condition. Together, the total value of the two coins is $52. What is the value of each coin? All right, remember, as we started talking about these before, probably your most important question to ask yourself is, what am I being asked to find? So in this problem, we are being asked to find what is the value of each coin. So we're going to let that help us to identify what our variables are. If we're supposed to find out what's the value of each of these coins, then whenever we're done with this problem, we want to be able to tell somebody, well, the 1950s nickel is so much, and the 1945 nickel is so much. So I'm going to let that be my variables there. I'm going to say the 1950 nickel and the 1945 nickel. Alright, now reading the problem again, remember at this stage we're trying to actually assign letters to these. So we want to reread our problem and think about which one we'd really like to know first. So the value of an uncirculated 1950 nickel minted in Denver is 8/5 the value of a 1945 nickel. So this one is 8/5 the value of the 1945 nickel. Sounds to me like I would really like to know how much that 1945 nickel is first. And if we could figure that out, then the other one is 8/5 that value. So I could label this one as 8/5 x. Now, for the rest of it, it said, together the total value of the coins is $52. So if we're talking about their total value together, we're talking about adding those two things up. So we would have our first one, which would be 8/5 x, plus our second one, which was just the plain x. Together, those should total $52. So now we have our equation written, and our next step is to go ahead and solve. So whenever we add these things together, remember, in order to add fractions, we'd have to have a common denominator. So I would really have to turn this 1 into something over 5, so it would have the same denominator. Well, 5 over 5 is 1. So now when we add 8/5 x plus 5/5 x, we get 13/5 x equals 52. And now, to get rid of the 13/5, we would have to do the opposite, which would be to divide both sides by 13/5. So normally we would say we're going to divide by 13/5, but we don't actually divide by fractions. Instead, we multiply by the reciprocal. So we're going to multiply by 5 over 13, and we're going to do that to both sides. Now, in doing that, on the left-hand side, everything cancels, and we're just left with x equals. And on the right-hand side, oh, I'm sorry, that's not 15. That should have been a 13 there. Sorry about that. Made a little boo-boo, and that would have made a big difference because 13 will go into 52 4 times. So now 4 times 5 would be 20. Now that tells us that that's what our x is. So now we know that that 1945 nickel is worth $20. And because of that, we could figure out how much the 1950 nickel is worth. Remember, it's worth 8/5 of whatever x is. So let's see, 5 will go into 24 times. 8 times 4 is 32. Now we could double check ourselves to make sure that we're correct. If we add up the value of these two, do they in fact equal $52? Well, yes, they do.